Welcome back, wrestling WWE fans. Tonight's story takes us deep into one of the most shocking nights of the year, Clash in Paris 2025. It wasn't just a night of championships or rivalries. It became a night of painful consequences, unexpected returns, and a brutal reality check that shook the wrestling world to its very core. Roman Reigns, the tribal chief, walked into Paris carrying the weight of legacy, power, and the unshakable image of a man who could not be broken. For years he's been the pillar of dominance, the figure who bends stories around his presence. But even the strongest figures are still human beneath the crown. Across the divide stood AJ Lee, whose return had already rattled the WWE landscape. Her name alone carried history, rebellion, and defiance. She represented something Roman could never fully control: spirit that doesn't bow down to bloodlines or titles. Please like, share and subscribe for more WWE content. The tension between their worlds wasn't built overnight. Roman's empire has always been about family and hierarchy, while AJ's legacy was built on resistance, proving time and again that no system could silence her voice. That clash of ideals made her comeback all the more powerful. Inside Paris, the crowd could feel the atmosphere crackling. Roman, though battered from his earlier war, still commanded the arena with his aura. AJ, with that trademark fire in her eyes, stood as a reminder that defiance never truly dies. The story leading up to this night had whispers of resentment. Backstage chatter said Roman wasn't happy about the spotlight shifting, even slightly, to AJ. For a man obsessed with control, seeing someone else's name dominate headlines can ignite a dangerous fire. When the moment finally came, it wasn't just an exchange of words. It was a storm. Roman, weakened but unyielding, made his stance clear, while AJ stood her ground, fearless in the face of the tribal chief's wrath. At first, it seemed like tension without violence. Words sharpened like daggers, but neither side threw the first punch. The arena watched, restless, knowing something was bound to erupt. And then it did. Halfway through the night, the shocking climax unfolded. Roman, still carrying the wounds of his match, lashed out in fury. A brutal strike aimed at AJ brought the crowd to a stunned silence. Fans couldn't believe what they were seeing. Roman Reigns, the injured champion, unleashing pure rage on someone who represented defiance itself. The attack wasn't drawn out, but its impact was unforgettable. Security rushed in. AJ tried to rise, and Roman, breathing heavily, collapsed under his own pain as officials pulled him away. The chaos felt less like entertainment and more like betrayal made flesh. From that point forward, the entire narrative of Clash in Paris shifted. No longer was it just about Roman's match earlier in the evening. The story became Roman's loss of control, his brutal message to AJ Lee, and the aftermath that rippled through the locker room. Backstage whispers grew louder than the crowd itself. Some superstars were furious at Roman's actions, calling it unnecessary, while others said it was a man stretched too far by pressure, finally snapping under the weight of his crown. The hospital scene only added to the haunting image of the night. Roman, strapped to a gurney, still seething with anger, reacted from behind closed doors. He made it clear through his words that AJ's return wasn't going to overshadow him, that no outsider would ever rewrite the bloodline's legacy. Those words, dripping with pride and bitterness, cut deeper than any steel chair. It wasn't just about AJ. It was about Roman's fear of losing control, fear of being forgotten, fear that his empire could crumble if even one voice stood against him. AJ, for her part, remained defiant. Even in pain, she symbolized something Roman couldn't destroy: resilience. Her presence reminded everyone that no matter how strong Roman stood, there would always be someone ready to challenge his throne. The emotional aftermath left fans divided. Some condemned Roman's actions, saying it was a betrayal of everything he claimed to stand for. Others defended him, arguing that pressure and legacy could drive even the strongest to dark places. For the bloodline's story, this was more than a moment of violence. It was a crack in the foundation. Roman's rage against AJ showed that his empire wasn't built on unshakable confidence, it was built on fear of losing control. The whispers now swirl around what comes next. Will AJ's resilience spark a larger rebellion? Will Roman's family stand by his side after such a brutal message, or will fractures begin to spread within their walls? The answers will define WWE's legacy moving forward. When history looks back on Clash in Paris 2025, it won't just be remembered for the matches. It will be remembered as the night Roman Reigns, broken and furious, reacted from his hospital bed with words that may haunt him forever. And in the end, we are left with a reflection that feels heavier than gold or glory. This wasn't about wins and losses. It was about betrayal. It was about broken trust. And it was about blood. Blood that no longer feels like unity, but like a scar that may never heal.